Welcome to the Temple of Enki. My name is Max. I am an oracle of Enki and the Anunnaki gods. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you Inanna's descent into the underworld. So this topic is very much spoken about in a lot of esoteric circles, groups, communities. Inanna's descent into the underworld. And it's very significant because it holds a lot of keys for personal development, especially for women, when it comes to understanding the foundation of the earth, as well as their counterpart, which is men. So the story of Inanna descending into the underworld is something all women and men can learn from, but especially women. And the reason for this is Inanna is depicted and is known as the Queen of the Heavens. So naturally, when you associate the symbolism with the Queen of the Heavens, women, you come across similar characteristics. So naturally, a lot of women, especially nowadays, will not be fully aware of the struggles men will have to go through and won't be as sympathetic with the struggles the masculine has to endure. There is an overall difference. There are things men do not understand about the sufferings of women, and there are things women do not understand regarding the sufferings of men. And men deal with a lot of the underworld struggles, hunting, surviving, wars, battles, building society, the physical world. So in the Tree of Life, being in Malkuth, the Midgard, we're between the underworld and the heavens. So men really help uphold the underworld aspect of Earth, where there is structure, where there is order, where there's civilization. And men throughout history have created these things to help women, feminine energy, the heavenly kingdom, to be on earth with the structure, okay? However, being the Queen of the Heavens, when you are a woman that doesn't have to endure those things, then naturally you can also be the cause of sabotaging them. And this is where Inanna goes into the underworld, okay? Inanna is stripped of her garments, of her jewelry, of her title. She's stripped of everything as she goes deeper into the underworld. She's stripped of her jewelry, her title, her power. She's stripped of everything until she's broken down to her core. Right? And we can see this today too in society where, a lot of women would like to, change their bodily features, put on a lot of makeup, dress up, right? They want to be more than what they are. And this relates to men too. In the end, men also try to defend the insecurity in the feminine energy by, going to the gym, getting tattooed up, inked up, right? Trying to go out and make money, get a Bugatti, right? It's the same process. It's not tied to a gender specifically. It's more so tied to the feminine energy, both in men and women. So Inanna represents that energy from the heavens, that pure energy, that pure essence that hasn't really struggled in the world, coming down and learning to adapt, learning to be grateful, learning to embrace your own essence and your own power, instead of wearing an armor of jewelry, of makeup, of dresses, and all this stuff. So you're stripped of your egoic attachments. Inanna is stripped of egoic attachments in the underworld, where she gets to reclaim her fire, her personal power. Okay? And a good example of this I can give is, the whole Barbie model. Okay? I don't know. I was looking at this when I was watching the Barbie movie, and it was actually very crazy. Barbie comes out of Barbie Land, repetitive Barbie world. And the Barbies mistreat the men completely in the movie. And that is a representation of how women with that imbalanced Inanna energy that haven't done their shadow work tend to be narcissistic, inconsiderate of men. They just want to be in their own feminine bubble. Everything's pink, everything's jolly, right? I'm a blonde princess, right? That's the imbalanced Inanna collective, okay? Now, Inanna isn't like that in her total form. She had to go through that herself, but that is what a lot of women have to go through in order to mature, okay? You have to be stripped of everything that you think makes you special. As a woman, as a man, everything you're doing to avoid pain, discomfort, power struggle, low confidence, everything you're trying to do to fit into the world, to give your power away, right? Getting all the designer clothes, bags, jewelry, tattoos, and the whole attitude of like, I don't need a man. And then you go get your tire changed to buy a mechanic. That's a man, right? Like, men ain't shit, right? That's all imbalanced feminine energy, imbalanced Inanna shadow work a lot of people have to do. So in this stage, Inanna has a very blue energy, okay? It's just descending emotion. It's that heavenly energy, heavenly emotion energy that's just descending, highly emotional, okay? But you also have to have that yang energy, which is what you learn in the underworld. That's what Inanna claims in the underworld. As your emotions descend into the underworld, okay, and you see where you skipped some of your lessons that would have allowed you to become more empathetic, appreciating, grateful for the struggles the masculine has to endure, that your masculine energy didn't have to endure because you have men or other people around that are filling in that gap of masculinity for you, that caregiving structure for you. When you don't have to go through that, you miss out on those lessons that would make you more grateful and understanding and compassionate. So what happens is people with this highly emotional, unintegrated emotional energy tend to have severe reality checks. You can go through streaks of bad luck, right? Inanna loses her garments, her title, her status, her belongings. She loses everything. And just like Inanna, many women that I've seen personally go down this initiation lose their quote-unquote friends, their jewelry, their jewels, their sense of confidence. They lose everything, and they're broken down to their core so that they can truly connect with the pain that they're trying to hide. And when you get to that point, as a woman or as a man, when you've lost everything, when you're going to the gym and you feel more depressed, and you start getting depressed and people stop hanging out with you because they're like, wow, like, what's up with your vibe? I don't want to be around you anymore. Like, that's what happens. Everything that was fake, an emotional illusion, is stripped away. And that fire from the underworld, the fires of hell, burn everything so fast. That's when you start to see things clearly. You start to see yourself clearly. You tap into your personal power. Okay? This is where Inanna becomes the quote-unquote goddess of war. Okay? So she's a goddess of love. She's a goddess of war. And that's where we get this yin and yang energy from Inanna. She has that loving emotional energy that descends, but she also has that fiery, masculine warrior energy that rises up. So you descend into the underworld. Everything is stripped away from you until you become pure power, pure presence, pure awareness. It's a very intense path, okay? And then you rise up and you come back to your title. In a way, you earn it. It's not just given. And you can see this today with a lot of the younger generation women, maybe even some older ones. But, you'll have a lot of women nowadays, and I have nothing against women, by the way, but you'll have a lot of women nowadays that will go on OnlyFans and will look for shortcuts and will look for ways to, you know, get that status, get the money, get the quote unquote respect, but it's an emotional illusion. It doesn't give real wealth. And in fact, it feeds negative agendas. And it's an emotional illusion overall. It creates more degeneracy. The gods don't support it at all. The whole point of Inanna's descent into the underworld is to pop out of your own emotional bubble and to really place yourself in the world, to root yourself in the world in a way that's helpful and not destructive. So when you descend into this fiery pit and you see what you need to see about yourself and learn what you need to learn and activate that primal fire, you'll change. Anyone would. I've been through this myself, and it's very illuminating. The way you speak changes, the way you think changes. You stop putting other people on pedestals. You stop looking at celebrities like they're some hotshot. Like, you don't see things the same at all. In fact, you become quite rebellious, intellectual. You try to contribute to society in a healthy way. You become way more grounded. Okay, you become way more grounded. It's not so much about your emotions anymore. It's just more about your vitality. It's more about the flow of your life force. And a lot of marriages struggle from this too. There's an equal lack of appreciation on both sides. There's a lack of respect on both sides because you don't have to go through what the other person has to go through, but they're going through it for you. We have a lot of marriages nowadays that are very dysfunctional because we don't treat the other person like it's their last day on earth. We don't treat them with compassion. We don't treat them with love. We don't treat them like they're working really hard. We think they're slacking off, right? When we see a person struggling, especially people that have that imbalanced Inanna energy, the shadow Inanna energy, you won't have any compassion for the other person's struggle. You'll just see them as lazy, as a deadbeat, right? And a lot of women are like that these days in marriages. And they end up cheating. And then their single friends get them to, get a divorce, take the kids, take the house, take everything. There's no compassion, right? Because in the end, it's not the women that are upholding the structure of society, it's the men. So that understanding comes with that Inanna integration. Integrating that emotional energy by facing the struggles in the underworld that mankind has to face. The feminine energy learns how to function on earth. And that's something Inanna wants me to share with all of you is your true power as a woman doesn't always come from how pushy or aggressive or masculine you are. It comes from how much you can soften. It comes from regulating yourself, okay? It comes from learning to soften your voice, learning how to speak, learning how to communicate with emotion, learning how to soften. Feminine energy is very unique. It's regenerative. Masculine energy is not. When we release our sexual fluids as men, we degenerate. When women experience orgasm, they regenerate. Women are cyclical. You're non-linear beings as women. So women have a very important role in society, in the family structure, and in the life of a man. And that's something a lot of women have to understand through this integration, through this process. Because it's the emotional energy that comes from the heavens, that comes from the women, that really brings life into this world, but also sparks man with purpose. The reason society has evolved to such a degree is because men want to give women and their children a better life. So You have to connect with your own essence and heal what you need to heal, balance out what you need to balance out, understand that mortality is real, death is real, okay? You have to come to terms with certain inevitabilities of life so you can fully appreciate it and fully love those around you instead of taking them for granted, okay? Instead of running them over when they don't do what you want them to do, being understanding and have humility when they're not doing what you want them to do, okay? There's a lot of intricacies that come into that. Going into the underworld is to really see where you're blind. So Inanna's descent into the underworld, or your feminine energy's descent into the underworld, is to see where you are blind so that you can appreciate what you have, and also so that you can develop and grow in the way that gives fruit and vitality to yourself and those around you. So the underworld holds a lot of lessons for the soul, especially for the feminine energy, because we can't always live like our heads up in the sky, right? And it's really important to protect that. It's really important to face your shadow so you can protect yourself as well. If your shadow is not integrated, and if you're living in emotional illusions, then people can manipulate you very easily. And that's what they do in politics too. There's so many people now, especially like more on the left side, if I'm going to be honest, but it's also on the right side too, where people don't really understand what it takes. A lot of people just don't understand the fundamentals and like how much suffering there is in the world, especially in America. People have no idea how much suffering there is in the world, and they take the rights they have in America for granted. And there's so many people that are just operating based off of emotion and the emotion that they are fed. They're being fed emotional illusions through the TV, through the media, and they're just casting illusions. Literally, media is the Greek goddess of illusion. That's literally what her name is. People are being fed emotional illusions, okay? And this is what really causes chaos in the world. So the lesson here is to appreciate both sides of the coin. It's to understand your polarity, right? Like, we have counterparts naturally. We're biologically designed to have counterparts, but spiritually also. So both genders are spiritually equipped and physically equipped to handle different things, and we need to appreciate each other and understand each other to live in the golden age, to live to our fullest potential. We have to understand these polarities and bring them into unity. And that's what a lot of people need to bring into relationships too by doing this type of shadow work, is by understanding that, not everyone around you is going to live forever, and that you should treat people like it's their last day on earth. I think that's one of the biggest things you learn from the descent into the underworld. You really see the inevitable karma, the inevitable life experiences that you have to face that will open your heart through love or pain. She gets to see where masculine energy needs her emotion, needs her humility, needs her compassion. So a healed Inanna energy is very kind, caring. She doesn't let people walk all over her. She still has passion. She has fire. But there's that balance, okay? There has to be balance. And a lot of people don't know how to catch that balance. But you can tell, a man can tell when a woman is integrated, okay? She speaks with elegance, intelligence, confidence. She's not arrogant. She doesn't have to raise her voice. Okay, you can tell when a woman is truly empowered and respects herself when you're a man. And in the same way, women can tell certain things about men when a man is being insecure. Like, it's the same dynamic. It's the same thing expressing itself differently. Both have to descend into underworld to build a better relationship with the opposite energy. Women evolve into a mother figure, a wife, where the man comes home from work and she's already have food prepared for him, and she nurtures him, massages him, takes care of him, plays with him. Like, those are very important things that you learn in this path, integrating that Inanna energy. So imagine Inanna's energy as a river flowing from the heavens, and the man's energy is that fire in hell, right? Like Hephaestus, the blacksmith of the gods, constantly working with fire, constantly in the shop, constantly working, constantly creating. Inanna is that energy that comes down from the heavens, bringing him peace, bringing him warmth, giving him a nice meal, a massage, a hug, right? Well, Hephaestus is like the energy that gives, structure, civilization, armor, weapons, military, whatever. So the lesson is the masculine energy learns to connect with the feminine energy if you're a man. And if you're a woman, as the feminine energy, you learn to connect with the masculine energy. So a healed Inanna energy is like warm, but also kind, soft, gentle, but also passionate, a little aggressive. It's a little bit of both. It's very balanced, okay? Inanna has been through a lot through her karmic cycles. And a lot of women that go down the same path experience empowerment to godlike degrees. You start to kind of cringe at how you used to be and how like younger women are, because you can tell it's unintegrated. You can tell they're trying to be the alpha female, but in the complete wrong way. It's not by becoming more hard, more masculine, more degenerate. It's by becoming more elegant, soft-spoken, divine, okay? So you can tell when an Inanna, an integrated Inanna energy walks into the room. You can just tell just by looking at her, the way she talks, the way she walks. Like, you can just tell. And you can also tell who is unintegrated, okay? If an unintegrated girl walks into the room, an unintegrated guy looks everywhere. Ooh, what does that person think of me? Ooh, I don't like what he's wearing. Ooh. Like, it's like your attention is always outside. That's unintegrated. An integrated Inanna energy. You're focused on your nervous system. You're not blaming people for how they make you feel. You're questioning why they make you feel a certain way. You stop blaming the external world. You stop being a brat. Okay? That is the lesson. Stop being a brat. Basically, in a nutshell, stop being a brat. Understand that the world is suffering, and bring your light, bring your joy, bring your love, bring your vitality into the world. That is the lesson. That is the initiation. It is to find your joy in the pits of hell and to rise back into the heavens. So if you're struggling in your marriage, you're struggling in your relationship, and you're trying to blame the other person, turn it back in. Even if they're a narcissist, look back in. It's all you. It's all you. Whether that person's a narcissist, you think you deserve that. That's still unintegrated Inanna energy. If you feel like snappy, if you're always, whining at everything, complaining at everything, that's unintegrated Inanna energy. If you take offense to everything, if you're too sensitive, unintegrated Inanna energy. Okay? So yes, learn to be playful. Learn to let the load off. Learn to take care of your own energy. Okay? That's the biggest lesson. If you can take care of your own energy, you learn to be self-sufficient, you'll know what you need. And by default, you will know what the masculine needs too. That's just how it is. Yin and yang. If you're not connected to yourself, someone else is going to fill in the gap, and then you're not going to appreciate them for filling in the gap. Okay? And that is Inanna's descent into the underworld in a nutshell. It doesn't just apply to women. It applies to men as well. Okay? In the end, it's your feminine energy. It's the part of you that's hiding behind your name, your status, your Instagram followers, your car, your money, your physique, your makeup, your clothes, your jewelry, right? It's the part of you that's hiding behind all those things. And when you strip it all away, are you happy? Are you blissed out? Or are you sad and broken? Are you angry? Are you Are you in pain? Are you grieving? That's the part that you have to ignite. That's the part of you have to connect with when you're going through this initiation of going into the underworld. Because when you don't heal these wounds, you end up hurting those around you. And a person, whether you're a man or a woman, that doesn't have a healed feminine energy will cause havoc on other people's lives, especially those that they love. So this is a very important process for a lot of people to go through, because emotional energy that's not structured, that hasn't come face to face with itself, that doesn't understand itself, isn't really that different from a wild animal. Okay? You just react out of impulse. So it's really important to understand this aspect of yourself by descending into that red fire, into the underworld, so you can face yourself and face the parts of you that are holding you back from growing and elevating your existence. So that is the descent of Inanna into the underworld in a nutshell. It's highly esoteric. It can be applied to energy work as well, especially if you're doing something like the microcosmic orbit, where you're descending that heavenly energy down and you're raising that masculine energy up the spine. That's something that's really important for people to do to harmonize themselves. So if you're going through something challenging in life, if you're being stripped away from your old identity and you're struggling, you're going through depressive episodes, you're having mental breakdowns, you're having existential crisis, know that you were none of those things that were stripped away from you, and that your true essence is trying to come back into your body, is trying to get your attention, is trying to tell you, hey, sit with me, meditate with me, find power in the situation. You are stronger than an emotion. You are stronger than a thought. You are stronger than a perspective, right? So we need to ignite that fire, right? Shakti. Shakti is that fire at the base of the spine. That's what Inanna is. It's that Shakti fire. It's Devi. It's the goddess, the Kundalini. So ignite that Shakti fire, circulate your energy, bring your masculine and feminine energy, your mental and emotional energy into balance, and you will experience wonders, okay? Whatever you're struggling with, it will start to fix itself. The universe is trying to teach you a lesson. It's trying to show you something. You can either face it in the external world, or you can clear that karma from your body internally through spiritual practice. So that's all I have to say regarding Inanna's descent into the underworld. It's a very simple concept if you know how to look at it. It holds a lot of gems for a lot of people, and it will help you drastically if you can apply it to your life and see where you may not be seeing things as you should be. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. Leave your feedback and your questions in the comment section below. Make sure to check out the Temple Patreon for exclusive channeled spells from Inanna, from Enki, from the Anunnaki in star languages. That's all I have to say, and till next time.